Happy what's left of Thursday, April 27th, 2023. Damn, April's almost over. We're almost into May. And if you live in Vegas, you know what comes after May, June, July, and August. You may as well just set yourself on fire and you'd be much cooler then. But it's only 3 months out of the year. We just have to get past it. For all you guys living in different parts of the world, different parts of the country, I hope your weather's better than what I'm about to get. So, welcome to the Poindexter Lounge Sci-Fi Center Semi-Overnighter Sci-Fi Center Live. I am simulcasting on both this channel, the Poindexter Lounge, and on the channel you see below my giant head, youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center. Please like and subscribe both channels. The one whatever one you're watching on right now, hit the like button and subscribe to both channels because many times I broadcast on both channels. Now, as we evolve, there's going to be some differences between the two, but for the most part right now, just to make things a lot easier, content-wise, I've been broadcasting on both networks. But there will be shorts and stuff and everything else that go on the Sci-Fi Centers channel, simply because that's going to be geared more towards less live streams and more pop culture. But after we get past what's going to be a really busy week coming up, this week we got Rocky Horror. For those of you who are here in Vegas, next week we have Free Comic Day, and the following week after that we have Sci-Fi Center and Trauma Films presents Chomania, the very first Chomania that we're going to have. We've had Lloyd Kaufman out here before, but this is going to be the first event that we've actually had him headlining, and we're going to have a bunch of new Trauma movies that have never been seen in Las Vegas before, and we're also going to have some classics. He's going to be doing Toxic Avenger with him sitting with us in the audience doing live audio commentary. With Eating Miss Campbell's a brand new movie. I'll have that director on here in a couple of weeks for our independent film showcase. There'll be photograph section. We'll be showing Shakespeare's Shitstorm, which is a brand new movie never seen in Vegas before. Romeo and Juliet, which is ironically a James Gunn movie, and then Class of Nuka High with audio commentary from Lloyd. So it's just like buying the DVD and getting the special features, but it's going to be with him in person. So let's go say hi to the chat. Hey, how you doing, Music Man? Chappie, what's going on? That dude Vince just got back from Casey a bit ago. Went to the NFL draft day one. Yeah, my phone was blowing up, man. I mean, I'm not a big NFL draft guy because I'm not a big college football guy. So, I don't know, I don't have that kind of connection. But, man, the NFL and Mel Kiper is going to make damn sure that I know every move going on the NFL draft. So, it's going to be hot. Where are you at, Music Man? Because if you're saying it's going to be, is it going to be hotter than us? Because I don't envy you. Because unless you're in Arizona or New Mexico, we're pretty much going to meet it. Start pumping iron will take advantage of that heat. Well, dude, I do 4 miles. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do my 4 miles. I move them. I used to do them before, I would jump on these streams. And now I do the streams, I usually do them afterwards during nighttime. So I go up and down from where I'm at, and I run. So the heat does help me burn off a lot. But, man, the nighttime heat isn't so bad. It's just the daytime heat, that sun and all this concrete here. Blah. It's 2:47 at night here over in Orlando, so you got humidity in Orlando. Ugh. Cool. Halfway there. So we got about what today is? Wow, dude, we still got 3 weeks left. So today's the 27th. So we still have 17 days till Chomania. I'm way ahead of the game as far as my prep for it. But I'm absolutely paranoid. So I've been prepping for months. Plane tickets, all the kind of stuff, making sure all the movies and merchandise is right, getting the store ready. So, yeah. But, yeah, we're still 17 days away. Or 15, about 15 days away. So a lot of the people who are coming are still making their way. We coming from California. We got some people from New York that have purchased some tickets already. So, but not quite sold out yet, but we're getting, I have to check the ticket sales on there because it hasn't given me the little alarm. I have an alarm set as I approach what, my capacity, my comfortable capacity is. So I'll be taking a look. Hey, William, did we meet any FNTs or Geeks and Gamers during their meetup? I was not at the store today. I don't know. I don't think they came in today. I don't know how long they are in town for, but if anybody's in town, usually I'm there all day. I'm there from. I'll be there from 11 o'clock. Tomorrow my normal business hours, so probably about midnight because I spend a lot of time there on Fridays. What are your thoughts on the full circle poster? Zach mentioned with Film Junkie that there's a subtle elements to it that'll talk about more after the event in terms of their meeting. I hope they'll be able to purchase one of those things so I can get a better look at it myself. But yeah, whenever he does this, whenever he does these kind of visual things, and I remember when Zack Snyder's Justice League got released, all the art from there, there's always code and hidden meanings in there. And we're always, guessing what they mean. This time he's actually going to tell us. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll be keeping my eye on this whole thing. Obviously, we're going to be part of it. 11:30 Sunday morning, the last stream before Zack Snyder's Justice League, the full presentation. We're going to be on the air from 11:30 a.m. till 1 p.m. So we will lead right into that. So we'll be doing some fundraising. We'll be promoting those T-shirts, promoting those posters, promoting the giveaways and stuff that they have for the raffles and for donations. So we'll be all over that, and then we'll be talking. This is one of the few streams where it will be almost entirely talking about the Snyderverse, simply because that's what the weekend is about. So I am going to have some topics, some Snyder-centric topics, about where I would go with things, about where we are with things, some of the influence and everything else. But it's all going to be positive. And then we're also going to highlight the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, because that's the major goal for the weekend. So yeah, it's just going to be about, talking Snyder stuff, raising money, and having fun. Okay, so LA, you got it pretty good. I'm from LA, so you're living some good weather music, man. I'm jealous, man. Damn it. 4 miles, really good. Congrats. Yeah. So what I do, is it's a total of 8 trips. So I will walk down. All right, because it's a downhill slope. So I'll walk down, just get the cardio going. Then I run up. All right, I run up. I don't go super fast. I do enough running to get it faster than a fast walk speed. All right, then I come back down again. Then I come back up. So it's a total of 8 trips down a 1 mile area. So I walk the downs and I run the ups. All right, and then I do all the the stretches and everything else. The pyramids. If you guys, for those of you guys, we call them muscle failure in the Army. To where I'll do the reverse. I'll start out 20, 30, and then go backwards until I can't do it anymore. Once the muscles start to lock up, I stop because I still need to use my body in the interim. That's why I give and then the time in between. So the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays was when I do that, and then the Tuesdays and the Thursdays, like tonight, I don't do anything. I don't do anything. I don't do anything on Saturday, and then I do a very moderate workout on Sunday. So yeah, I try to keep myself in somewhat tip in position because of the fact that I found that when I'm out of shape, I can't do these things I do. I can't work the 13 to 14-hour days. I can't, I can't, cheat on sleep sometimes, because sometimes you only get 4 hours sleep, 8 hours sleep. And if you're out of shape, out of cardio, it's suffering. It's horrible. So, don't think so. I saw it in theater in the cinema as a kid. So, I don't, I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna have the time for that one. Yeah, man, Jerry Springer, gone at 79. I didn't realize he was that old, but yeah, man, Jerry Springer was just one of those guys, man. I mean, I grew up watching Jerry Springer, and I grew up with him, guys like Morton Downey, to the more serious degree, Phil Donahue. It was back when you had, Geraldo Rivera, back when all these guys were just hitting, and Jerry Springer was one of them. And it was just fun. I mean, you didn't take it seriously. He didn't want you. There was a certain point in time where he just let you know, do not take me seriously. And then he have his pay-per-view specials and stuff. I just thought he was fun. It was silly, but it was fun. And like I said, yeah, rest in peace, Jerry Springer, man. I mean, that guy, Everybody now just hearing that cheer, that Jerry, Jerry. But those shows would just get absolutely crazy. But and there were some people who thought they were real towards the end there, and I'm like, he's telling you they're not real, but okay. Chappie William, are you going to You're going. I heard about this. You're gonna love this Christopher Robin new R-rated series that features classic character getting high to hang with Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, I heard about this today. I don't know if it's gonna reach Pooh Blood and Honey territory, but I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Tear these public domain kids' dreams up. A hot William wearing a Wonder Woman for charity drive. Hot. I was gonna do that, but I'm probably gonna end up doing that after the one we're doing with these guys because they have a set structure of what they need. So everything, all of our streams on during over the weekend link up together, and they're all not uniform, but they're all serve the same purpose. So I'm gonna wait until to do my own after that. But this weekend is gonna be all basically the Nerd Queens have given me the backdrop, everything. So you'll see a backdrop behind me. They've given me all the links and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule that stream. Keep an eye out for that stream, guys, on both channels. If you can watch on both channels, great. Donate through either one, doesn't matter. And I will schedule that stream, and you'll see all the graphics for it. I'll have some guests on here, some wingmen, so it's just not me talking for 90 minutes. But I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. And actually, like I always say, the cause is really, really, all charities are important. This one, it just seems like every other person I meet is struggling with mental illness and struggling with suicide. Not every other person, but more than it used to be. I mean, it's an epidemic and it's a trend unlike it was. When I was in high school and I was, a kid, it was very, very rare that you even knew somebody. But now I don't know anybody that doesn't know multiple people that's struggling with this, and the resources just aren't there. Our healthcare system just doesn't make it available for everybody who needs it to have it. So a cause like this is great. So I'm happy to be a part of it for the 90 minutes that I'll be on board for it. So, amazing, man. It gets damn hot out here, and at night it gets. So what part of California are you from? Because I was from when we moved away from the LA, the Inglewood Hawthorne area, I moved to San Bernardino County, which is basically the other side of this Mojave Desert. I know Fourth lives out there in that general area. So I trust me, music man. I would trade your heat for my heat in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I can do 4 yards of running. Clint, don't do that. Don't do that. Because if you run those 4 yards, I have a feeling I won't see you at the store for a while. All right. I got to get back to jogging. I used to do 5 miles casually, then I stopped when I was bored. Yeah, the routine, the hardest thing for me is just keeping the discipline of the routine and sticking to it no matter how crappy I feel. Like some days I'm burnt out completely and I just don't feel like doing it. And so me, it's important to have the discipline to do it. Music helps. I know I'll get my pad or get my phone and I'll put my Bluetooth earphones on, and the music helps. The music helps me get through the miles. Like I'll put in 9 Inch Nails, "The Perfect Drugs." That's one of the best songs to run to. Sanitarium from Metallica is a good song to walk down to and keep your heart rate going. So there's a song, a list that I have, and I have them in order of what pace I want to do, and the music actually helps me break the monotony and the laziness of, do I want to do this tonight? And then I keep my rhythm enough to where now it's like I feel guilty when I don't, especially if I eat like crap. Like I said, I'm eating at Sister Kim's a lot. I have to keep up this routine just to keep being 300 pounds plus. So, but yeah, jogging, whatever gets your cardio going, man. I mean, like I said, this is my routine. And in the summer, it actually picks up because you can burn a lot of calories, more calories in 100-degree heat. But during the summer, it's just not pleasant because my muscles start doing funky things, and it's a lot easier to get injured in the winter. How you doing, Jacob? I watched a little bit of Jerry today. Yeah, man. I didn't get a chance to watch anybody. Man, I used to watch that. I mean, I used to watch it because it was just fun. I mean, it was ridiculous. Christy Lake. Oh, I remember Christy Lake. Montel Williams, I definitely remember. Montel Williams was a Marine. Saw Gunn was asked at the Guardians 3 premiere that a DC Marvel crossover wouldn't happen anytime soon. I'm sure that's me. Yes, yes. It never needs to happen, guys. I know it sounds cool, but you just really don't understand what a horrible idea this is. Sometimes things that sound cool on paper or in a conversation, in a geek conversation, in practice are really bad ideas. Marvel DC crossover is one of those things. So let's hope he sticks to his word. Just we don't get to see that anytime soon. All right, Jacob McKenzie, William, thought on James Gunn says they have some really great choices for the role of Superman Legacy. I hate that name. All the previous Superman have been good, so we just have to add to that story. He has a significant advantage of all the Superman movies that have been made have been behind him. He has an advantage of taking what works from all of them, because there are things that work in Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman, that still work, but for the most part don't work because we're not in 1980. But you can still take aspects of that. There are things that worked. I think a lot of things that worked in Cavill Superman that you definitely could still use these days because it's a contemporary Superman. Even Brandon Routh's Superman. I didn't like the movie, but I liked him and I liked some of the things that they did in that movie, even though the movie wasn't that great. So, and then even going back all to George Reeves. I mean, I to me, I think he's going back and he has a much wider scope than a lot of people may realize because he's a comic book geek himself. And that's one of the cooler things I do like about having James Gunn involved is he understands the genre. He's felt what it's like to be a fan. So he kind of has that connection too. So like I said, I wish his hiring wouldn't have happened as soon as it did. And I wish that they were taking a different route as far as building this up, as far as I know. But as far as him as an individual, him as far as capabilities, I'm really looking forward to some of the stuff he's got coming. Especially the two things I'm probably hyped about more are Supergirl, Woman in Tomorrow, and the Amazon's Paradise Lost. And just the description of it being like Game of Thrones, he had me right there. So I hope this thing gets off the ground. I really do. I really do. I think he's got a lot going against him, but when you just hear the stuff he has planned, you're like, wow, that sounds kind of cool. But then you're reminded of everything we've been through to get to this point. You're like, Let's see about Williams. Williams on Palm Clemente. I hope I pronounced that right. She plays Mantis. Says she's had conversations with James Gunn to join DCU as a currently unknown character. I think you're going to see just about. I think you're going to see just about all of the people that he's worked with eventually come over to DCU. And to be honest with you, I don't have much of a problem with that. It takes away a lot of the unpredictability when you're surrounding yourself with people that you've worked with. I mean, you're spending a lot of money, you're taking a lot of risk with these movies and these projects. You increase the odds of your success and you make things easier when you surround yourself with people who you have a good time with, you've had a good experience with, and you know what they bring to the table and they know what he wants from them. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if hold on, that was my mom calling me. I wouldn't be surprised if just about everybody you've seen him work with in the MCU doesn't end up in some type of DC project one way or the other. That's actually smart. So I hope I have no problem with that. JR Server, by the way, the glimpses of Batfleck chasing the Flash look really cool. Really looking for that part of the movie. Yeah, the blue and gray suit is growing on me, or that gray and whatever he's got on, that's growing on me. That's good. That is good. It's good that you recognize that, and it's good that you're getting help. In everybody who's going through anything, it's okay. You're not some freak. You know, You're not some irredeemably broken person for going to get therapy. I know lots of people that carry out their everyday lives just fine at every levels of society that get therapy on a regular basis. There's nothing wrong with that. And every time I see one of these athletes or somebody super, super famous that comes out and says that, hey, I got something fixed. I went to therapy. There's thousands of people, sometimes even millions of people watching them saying, okay, if that guy can do it, and it's, so can I. I mean, the senator from Pennsylvania, this name doesn't come to me right now, but I know it. I know, John Fetterman. All right. Had depression, had mental issues. Went in and got, went in for therapy, went in for rehab. And there are people that are, like I said, that think that going to get help there's something wrong with that. So the more public people that, that are having issues that come out and say, hey, this is what I did, I hope people follow their lead. There's nothing out there. Now, what we're doing this weekend and what I plan to do furthermore is make it so that the barriers to that aren't as significant financially, things like that through fundraising, that. Because it's one thing to tell somebody, hey, go get help, go get fixed. But then, have them run into a wall when health insurance may not cover it, they may not have a job. There may be a lot of things. There are a lot of free resources to get mental help. And then there are some, that cost money. There are some that go in depth. There are some that, that may require more than just, weekly therapy sessions. So that's my goal with what we're doing this weekend and the extension beyond that. All right. William, I'm calling my own name. Which are you going to? Okay, let's try this talking thing again that I've been at for 48 years. William, which one are you going to see? Dune Part 2 or the Hunger Games Battle of Songbird? I will not be seeing the Hunger Games. I have yet to see any Hunger Games movie. I have zero interest in them. Not to knock those movies, it's just not my thing. I watched about 20 minutes of the first one and just said, nah, it just wasn't my thing. Doom immediately. We will be promoting Dune, just like we promoted the original Dune. And I love that director. That director could direct. He could direct a chick flick. He could direct human interest. And that I have as much use for human interest in chick flicks as I do for used toilet paper. But if Denis Villeneuve does it, I'm going to give it a chance. That's how much I love that director. So Dune 2 is going to be, from what I hear, it's going to be an epic war movie, a galactic war movie. And if you know where they're at in the books, man, you're in for something. You're in for something that's epic, man. Yeah, both films. Like I said, I will not be seeing Hunger Games. Sorry. So, like I said, Dune's a no-brainer. Dune, I'm saying, no matter what comes out in November, Dune is on one of my most anticipated movies of the year, if not the most. All right, thoughts on director Joss Whedon, especially when he did reshoots of the Justice League. At the time, I did not have all the details. A lot of us did. And when I heard Joss Whedon was coming in, I actually had high hopes because from what we were being told as fans was that there's a family tragedy, he's taking over, and, it's Joss Whedon. This is the guy who made one of the best comic book movies of all time, and the 2012 version of the Avengers. I mean, that is to me, I'm like, this is going to be, okay. I mean, I'm sorry. What's that? As we learned the details, though, I started to have a little bit less respect for the entire operation. And then once I found, all my comrades, the Film Junkie, Chris Swinson, all these guys that that we either stream with or watch stream, then we started to come together and realized, realized all the details. I almost hated the guy, and then the stuff that we found out afterwards it just compounded it. So as we learned more about what was going on with that whole situation, the entire mismanagement of it, that him Jeff Johns, that entire situation, I just lost respect. I mean, I will always respect have respect for the work that he did, and there are plenty of things that Josh Whedon's done that I've enjoyed. But as a person, as an individual, I just I just wish he would disappear, and he for the most part has. It does, man. It does. It does. It like I said, July and August are the worst ones, but I exaggerate and whine. It's really like I said. Obviously, your year has 12 months. It's 3 months of heat. It's just like it when you're in that 3 months, it seems forever. It just seems like it's never going to end. And then you get past, you realize, it's only 3 months. Oh, I'm sorry, Fourth 1000. I don't live in San Bernardino. I live in Rialto. Guess what, Fourth? You live in San Bernardino, son. It's like one of those guys in San Bernardino. Oh, I live in Highland. You live in San Bernardino. Yes, Rialto is a suburb of what? San Bernardino. It's not like you live in Fontana where you're further down Phil Hill. I mean, I lived in Rialto before I left for Vegas in the Army. I lived in Rialto, San Bernardino County. I live right around the corner from Eisenhower. You're into listen. Embrace the armpit of California. You might as well get the San Bernardino tattoo. What do they call it? The Endless Empire. Go get your 909 tattoo, Fourth. That's yeah. Soundtracks. You got to, because you got to pace yourself. Hold on for a second. That was my mom. I have to answer when my mom calls, whether I'm streaming or not. Yeah, I think that that is going to be a complete and absolute utter destruction of what was the Memphis Grizzlies. They did what they were, you expect a team that's down 3-1 on their home floor to do. I had no expectations that the Lakers were going to win that game the other night. I have every expectations that they win later on today at 7 p.m. I think they're going to thoroughly destroy the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't care how talented the Memphis Grizzlies are. I don't know how great season that they've had. The Lakers know that they do not want to go back to Memphis for Game 7. All right. The Lakers know that there's a chance that Golden State, their next opponent, could wrap up Sacramento tomorrow, just hours before they take the floor. There is going to be a sense of urgency, and when the Lakers play with a sense of urgency, it doesn't matter who the other team is. If you look at some of the wins that they've had throughout the season, especially later on during the seasons, when they had to win, they won. Remember, this team started 2-10. And trade deadline, they were in 13th place. Now they're on the verge of eliminating the number 2 seed. I think they know that. They understand. LeBron understands. Everybody understands that nobody wants to be screwing around and ending up on playing Memphis on a Game 7 where anything can happen. You have them in Hollywood tonight. You need to absolutely do the same thing you did in Game 3 where you had a 35-9 lead. I think you're going to see a repeat of Game 3, but I don't think you're going to see Memphis coming back. I think they are going to – there are not going to be any minutes restriction. There's not going to be any limitations. Everybody's going all out. I truly expect this to be the Lakers going away. All right, which still baffles me why some people blame Zach Snyder for the mess DCU when even though they know it's really Josh Whedon and the old regime, they know. You have some people who have a crappy opinion about Zack Snyder's work because it wasn't their fluffy coloring book Superman that they grew up with, and that's fine. They can have that opinion, but that's not what was the death blow. The death blow was bad management. The death blow was people stuffed suits who were trying to get bonuses and could care less about the content. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we could go on forever about just how bad that management was. That management was so bad that, like I said, even as we move forward and they try to make everybody forget that anything Snyder ever happened, they've already done so much damage to the credibility that I think it's going to hurt James Gunn's work. And everybody who wants to blow smoke up your ass and say rebooting things is going to make everything great again, different doesn't always mean better, and doesn't mean that people are going to care. And, so they've done a lot of damage to their credibility. And like I said, not just with guys like me. I mean, we're nerds. The person who can do the most damage to you in retail or in anything that you're trying to sell is the average person who doesn't make a fuss. The average person who doesn't make a fuss and walks away does 10 times more damage than the hardcore 3%er geek that screams and gets on blogs and gets on YouTube and hashtags and does all that guy. That guy's damage is nothing. It's just loud. But for every one of those guys, there's going to be 20, 30, 40, 100,000 people who just say, not interested and move on. They're not going to get angry. They're not going to make any threats. They're not going to make a lot of noise. They're just not going to show up anymore. Those are the guys that have damaged DC. You can pretty much dismiss what any of us hardcore people say, anti-Snyder or pro-Snyder. Nobody cares about us mathematically because we're not the general audience. And we say we're leaving, but we never do. Those guys leave. They're not connected to it. So what DC's done with all these things that they've done since 2013, with undermining their directors, screwing their creators like they did, constantly not being on solid ground. Now we're starting over again. That kind of stuff just makes you unattractive. It's just too easy for the average guy who's not clung on to this stuff on the internet like we are to just find something else that's less complicated with. And it doesn't have to be a movie, video game, anything. You know what? This is entertainment to them. And what DC has done, both with the Tishihara, Emmerich, Jeff Johns, Sarnoff, has made it more complicated than it ever needed to be. And now with this new regime coming in, they've sort of made it more complicated just by restarting everything. So it is. I'm always going to tell people you got to be careful about who you put in these positions, because even if they only last 1 or 2 years, the damage that Hamada, Johns, Whedon, Tishihara, Sarnoff, Emmerich, the damage those guys did is going to reverberate well into James Gunn's tenure. It's just what it is, you know? I'm still looking forward to what James will do with some of these characters as well. Yeah, same here. And it's weird because I think a lot of people say it has to be either or. It's like, no, I can truly look forward to what James Gunn is doing, but know that his odds of failure are higher than his odds of success right now. Right now. All that could change. But right now, the situation as it is, he's got a 40% chance of success rate, in my opinion. And there's a lot that has to be done to even put him in the 50%. Is that impossible? No. But where it stands right now, it doesn't look good. So but if they're willing to put in the work to make the connections, it could change with a tweet or a presentation. William, thought on a sequel to Dodgeball is in the works with Vince Vaughn and set to return. All right, Jacob, and do not take this personally because you're just asking me a question. I hated the first one. I thought it was silly. That's a me thing. Those kind of movies, I went to go see it because we did a screening for it, and I had to be there. I hated that movie. But, hey, it made some good money. Congratulations. For those of you who love Dodgeball, you're getting a sequel. See, here's the thing. If something came out and it wasn't my thing and it made a lot of money, I want those people to get more. I want those people to get more of their story. I want those people to get more. All right. If you like Rainbow Bright or My Little Pony, and you went, you supported it, and you made it a lot of money, you as a fan, in my opinion, deserve a continuance to your story. And that's going to go to the same thing with Dodgeball. I'm not going to go see it because I think it's silly. But if movies make money and the creators still have story to tell, all systems go. I never want to hear that. Well, they don't need to make a sequel. They're going to ruin the first one with a sequel. Get the hell out of here with that, all right? Get the hell out of that. You should keep making sequels as long as you have story to tell and there's money to make. So, congratulations, Dodgeball fans. Yes, I did get to see that. Yeah, I was kind of confused at what I was looking at first. I thought that was like legit, you know, from what they were doing. But yeah, that was kind of freaky, man. Oppenheimer, listen, I'm not a Nolan fan. I mean, I respect him for what he's done, but I'm not a fan of most of his movies. But Oppenheimer looks great. Oppenheimer looks great. Yeah, somebody brought that up. I'm all for it. Bring me the violence, bring me the death, bring me the dismemberment, bring me the destruction, and attach it to every kid's dream you can. Yeah, yeah. This is just the premise of this is going to be great. This is just aren't they doing a? They're doing so many things now that these things are popping in the public domain. Poor Disney. William thought of A Quiet Place Day One take place in New York. The film follows Lupita. Wow, I can't talk. Lupita Nyong'o as a mother trying to survive following alien invasion. Joseph Quinn and Alec Wolf also star. Oh, Joseph Quinn. For those of you guys who don't know, Joseph Quinn, that was Eddie from Stranger Things, man. I love that guy. I love the Quiet Place series. I don't know how many more. I think is this a contemporary or is this a prequel? I'm not sure, but I know that they were making this. I'm all for it. Um, Vegas Golden Knights. For those of you who don't care about hockey and don't live in Vegas, they are the first ones to make it into round 2 of the playoffs. Unfortunately for them, probably as far as they're going to go, because unless my luck changes with my LA Kings, we are going to continue to get screwed by Connor McDavid and his sidekicks and their dirty play that doesn't get penalized. And they have decided this year that the Edmonton Oilers are not to be penalized. They'll get plenty of penalty minutes, but it's just a mess. And I watch a lot of hockey on ESPN. The ESPN announcers are horrible, by the way. But when Kevin Weeks, who's a softy when it comes to these things, when he's saying just how bad it is on air, on national TV, you know you're up against it. So, unfortunately, I think the second round's the furthest Vegas is going to go. I think they have pegged Edmonton as their storybook ending for the 2023 Stanley Cup Finals, and I don't think anything's going to get in their way. So enjoy the consolation prize, Golden Knights. William thought of Stephen Cable Jr. says Transformers Rise of the Beast is set a few years after the events of Bumblebee. Yeah, that makes sense because in the trailer, Bumblebee is in his Camaro. So that would be before the actual original Transformer movies where he gets a different design. I liked Smile the movie up until that stupid that ending. I hate endings like that. I don't. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but in my opinion, listen. I don't pay and I don't invest the time in movies for ambiguous endings. All right. If you wrote a beginning, you wrote a middle, write the ending, stick the landing. And Smile did not stick the landing, in my opinion. So I hope the sequel does what the original didn't do for me, which was stick the landing. So, okay. Where James plays some of his friends in the where James plays some of his friends in DCU, I think I could see Gary and Jillian as Poison Ivy. I could see her as a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know if it'll be Poison Ivy. I mean, It all depends, but like I said, I easily see him. I easily see him using a lot of those people. Yeah, same. I'm pretty sure she'll audition for it. Yeah, Dune. Yeah, we're entering into a portion of the books, and this is where I kind of the more I know more about this part of the story than anything else, because, like I said, Dune was really hard for me to absorb as a kid. Um, this is the part, the brave heartish type part of it. Just the violence and the war aspect of it. That's Yeah, it's not a sequel. We cinematically, yeah, it's a sequel, but narratively, no, it's the second part. That's literally what he's literally covering, the second part of this chapter in the books. So, yeah, yeah, and he's calling it Dune Part Two. So he said, "I wanted a movie to really open where we left with the characters. There's no time jump. I just want dramatic continuity. Yeah, because what I understand, Part Two literally starts right as part one ended. And I think it's cool because it allows people to go back, and a lot of people still haven't seen Dune yet. And it's on HBO Max. It was on HBO Max day one. There's a lot of people who are going to see this movie get hyped up, and they're going to be able to go see this movie and then right into this next one. When we promo Dune 2, we're going to show Dune 1 in a drive-in. I absolutely loathe the DC versus a Marvel crossover from 1996. All right. There's not too many things I hate, and that's one of the things that one of the reasons why I never want to see it again on any medium. Capcom, I don't care. Comic book, video, don't care. I never want to see it again. It was every bit as horrible as I imagined it being. DC versus Marvel in 1996 was complete trash, in my opinion. Literally and figuratively. You know, And once again, 1996 was a bad time for comic books as far as the comic book industry goes. These are the years that were leading into Marvel bleeding out and nearly disappearing. And things weren't going that great for DC as well. And a lot of the little independent comics that came out in the early 90s, a lot of the market was flooded. And I know a lot of people love the Death of Superman storyline. And storyline wise, you have every reason to love it. But commerce wise and business wise, that was one of the books that began the speculative buying thing. And what ends up happening is everybody started printing so many of things that there were so many in circulation that the value went down. And that's all people were doing, were buying things like that. And a lot of people were sitting on a lot of dead books, thinking that they were going to be valuable, and it was horrible. That was one of the things that they did, and that was one of the things that brought comic books down in the mid '90s, as far as the businesses goes. And Marvel versus DC crossover was a desperation, just like Heroes Reborn was, where Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and all those guys came over and took over Marvel for a couple months, and then the Onslaught thing. Those were all, Hail Marys, and it wasn't good for the industry. So I hope it never ever happens again. Stark is the Sharpton versus Ennis Martin Downey show, and the KKK versus Enterprise, the Geraldo show classes. That was the one where Geraldo got hit in the nose with the chair. It's not funny, but yeah, it was. And I remember, yeah, because Martin Downey broke his hand. If I recall, he had to wear a cast for a couple of weeks. But Geraldo, I remember seeing that. I mean, and they played it over and over and over again. And Geraldo, every time you saw him, he had this big old bandages over his nose. I remember those clearly, man. It was hilarious. Yeah, yeah. The epicenter is Paul Cheney, which is Zendaya's character. Yeah, it's a war epic and a sort of a love story, but more war epic. I'm going to have to take his word for this. If we don't capture it on screen, that relationship, we won't have that on screen. There's no movie. I don't know, man. The size and the effect of those movies and the fact that it's a war epic like this, I think he's going to do just fine with or without it. But hey, he knows what he's doing. Man, when Josh tried to come back with that interview that interview was cringe, man. I think he actually hurt himself with that interview. I've never seen anything like that blow up in someone's face. And even though I cannot, I don't have the respect for the guy that I used to have, it was painful to watch him kind of like sabotage himself. He noticed it didn't go anywhere. Okay. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to yourself, Fourth. You're talking to somebody who grew up there. The bright side of hospitality. Okay. We'll look you up when I hit the 909, man. We're gonna have to go look around and see some of these places that you and me both know, but apparently you're living better than I am there. William thought of James Gunn revealed that key traits of DC using Superman actors needs to possess humanity, kindness, compassion, somebody who wants to give you a hug. I mean, that's every Superman, in my opinion. And even the ones who never got Cavill, had they not given up on Cavill, I think Cavill would have become that Superman. But that's your basic Superman. Yeah, she's doing okay. She's the one that was handling the travel arrangements for Lloyd Kaufman. She was a flight attendant for 30 years. So whenever we fly guests out, when the rarity that we do them, or whenever I have to fly anywhere like that, she takes care of things for me like that because she knows how to get all the deals. She's just better at it. So that was she was calling me about. What's up? How you doing, Aaron? If James does fail, they have to take time off years, but I do think I know we want like they should reboot at that point because the mess will just get worse. There won't be any reboot because there won't be any reason to. If this doesn't take off, there won't be a reboot. It'll be another 6 or 7 years before people tackle it again. As a consumer, my end of it is to be entertained. How those details get worked out, if it's a real actor, great. If it's AI and I enjoy it, I mean, I'm not gonna like not enjoy a movie because AI has done it, or I'm not gonna enjoy a movie because of AI is involved in it, or vice versa. That there's other people who may judge that as far as their criteria goes, as far as like Oscars and things like that. But if I'm going for a specific story, I don't, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna affect me as much as I'll have to wait till I see it. How you doing, Daniel? But here's the thing, though. Even if we do get to that point, so let's say we get to that point, it's like I say about records, and it's like I say about bookstores and everything else. Eventually, the human condition wants to be around humans, and they want that human interaction. It is built in. It is wired into us. We may have all these advances, all these things that we're on now. We may have Amazon. We may have all the networking you could possibly come out with. But at the core of us, we always come back to the things that are created by humans and reflect humanity because that's us. We want things that reflect us by us, even if we come up with ways to make them easier. So even if they did do AI stuff, and even if it did take off for a while, I don't think it will replace everything because I still think the human desire is to want things by humans with humans. Because that's why you see vinyl. That's why you will see eventually bookstores coming around because we learned what happens when we can't get any of that. When we had to go through COVID for 2 years, where we could not have that human interaction, we understood that we still need it. We'll always need that human interaction, and movies are an extension of that. Even if AI does come out, and does some things, I don't think it will ever take over the humanity in these roles. So, all right, crossovers don't work, Marvel and DC, because each company has a distinct way of telling stories. All right, people don't want to realize that. but that is just the way it has always been. The basis of DC's characters and the basis of Marvel's characters are different. Marvel's characters were when and I've said this before. When I give an in-depth detail of the genesis and the way DC Comics was created. DC Comics was created in the late 30s, and it reflected a lot of the things that were going on. World War II was going on, even though we weren't involved, we were aware of it. You had open gang warfare, violent warfare happening in the streets with the mob and everything else, and Dillinger, things like that were happening. And you had, your newspaper coverages would literally have dead bodies of dead gangsters with bullet holes in their eyes on the front page where everybody could see kids and everything else. People were growing up, you had just gone through the Depression. You had just gone through, there's just so much you were going through at that time. And you had a lot of immigrant populations, and a lot of these superhero stories were based on that. When you look at most of the people who were creating comics then, a lot of them are immigrants. A lot of them are Jewish immigrants. Siegel, Schuster, Bob Kane, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. A lot of these guys were immigrants. They were telling their stories through that early time. The world was a brutal place, and the heroes that they created were a counter to that brutality, but they were also a part of that environment. DC's characters have always come in that godlike being juxtaposed on a very dark and violent world. That was decades before there was even a Marvel Comics, as far as like an actual company. Marvel Comics came in that era, that what I call that colorful safe place window. All right, in the 60s. No Kennedy assassination. We weren't fully involved in Vietnam. The civil rights movement was happening, but it wasn't in your face. It wasn't like every day where we have the internet or anything like now. It took a lot for the civil rights movement to get into your lap. You didn't. You were right post World War II, post Korea. You had your baby boomer. Everything was for a good 3-year period was that bright 4-color fantasy that Marvel represented. Now Marvel changed because Stan Lee was allowed to change it as the environment around him changed. There was a lot of things Stan Lee wanted to do at the beginning he couldn't do. But that genesis of where DC and Marvel come from was more of an everyman aspect. Peter Parker, people, things that people were normally going through. And that's the basis of their storytelling. What Stan Lee wanted to make is he wanted characters that even though they had fantastic powers, they were relatable to the average human. DC was not like that. Their heroes were gods. Their heroes were beyond human. And you were never supposed to compare them to a human in that aspect on that violent world. So when you start telling stories, no matter who's writing for you, that is intertwined in your storytelling. That is why Batman, no matter who writes Batman for the most part, Batman, the Dark Knight is the Dark Knight. Superman is Superman. And it's like oil and water. The type of storytelling that Marvel is known for and the type of storytelling that DC is known for is not the same thing. And that was one of the things as a collector that when I was growing up buying these things, you appreciated that. If you wanted a certain type of story, you went to DC. If you wanted another type of story, you bought Marvel. Or you bought them both and you had an appreciation. But they were not supposed to mix. And it goes back to their beginnings. And every time that they've done it, it's either been a joke, like you had your Spider-Man versus Superman, but that was an exhibition thing. That was silly. But if you're trying to make a serious storyline, Marvel versus DC, it's a horrible idea. If you respect the genesis of both companies and their way of telling stories, you will never want to see this again. Long story short. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, once again, 11:30 a.m. this coming Sunday Pacific time, I will be on the air leading into Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's the spot I chose. It was either Man of Steel or this one, and this one's actually better because Fridays are hectic. So we will be raising money for AFSP. I always add an A. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. We will be promoting the T-shirts, the giveaways, all the stuff that they have, all the fundraising links will be in our in the chat, and it'll be pinned to both my site and both sites that we'll be broadcasting from. And like I said, I am very proud to be a part of this, not only because it's for a good cause, but all these jackasses that take aim at Snyder fans uh, never want to point out the fact that there's a lot of good that we've done, and will always want to dog collar us with the crazy people that don't conduct themselves in the manner that we do. And this is just another example of what we can do, what we have done. I mean, we've done other fundraisers, but this is pretty big. And every time we do it, it's big. And every time somebody, calls us toxic this, toxic that, I used to have my term to tell them to go F themselves, but I'm trying to use less F bombs on the shows. But I still, you fill in the blank. For everybody who wants to label all of us as toxic fans, they can go, screw themselves figuratively. And the rest of us, that have brain cells, in our brains, functional ones, can watch what we're going to do over this weekend as far as raising money, bringing people together all over the world. The people who even organized this, Nana and Cole organized this, they can't even be there, and they're still running this. So there's going to be a lot of us that that'll be all over the world. Some people in Chile. This thing's going to be global, and like I said, just to have, I'm happy to be part of it for the 90 minutes I'm going to be there. So it's going to be a great time. Shogun Orta, I have not seen you here before. Welcome to both the Sci-Fi Center Live and Function Island. There could be a time jump in the middle of Dune Part 2. There was in the Lynch version. Forgot in the book did it too, but for Paul to be leader of Freeman, there has to be, or it'll be a super long movie. It's going to be a super long movie. Don't quote me. I heard this is going to be 3 hours plus. So, yeah, Shogun, it's going to be a long movie. They may cut it down, but from what I'm hearing, this is going to be possibly in the 330, 340 era. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm hearing. And in that case, I think that they will do exactly opposite of what Lynch did. But that was a pretty long movie, too, wasn't it? That's been a while. It's been 30 years since I've seen that movie. Sort of. Superman should have stayed dead longer, just like Barry Allen stayed dead. You can still have the Red Sun All-Star. I don't know, man. Hard to believe Michael Jackson almost bought Marvel. I wonder what that would have been like. He would have probably sold it to somebody else. He would have owned it for a couple of years and sold it to somebody else. Somebody would have offered him a boatload of money maybe to buy it back. Who knows. But that's where Marvel had been devalued to the point. Michael Jackson was huge. He had tons of money. But the type of money that, Marvel was Michael Jackson wouldn't have been able to buy Marvel later on as it increased back to its value. That's how I tell you. The fact that Michael Jackson was even in the running, just a single person, a single individual was able to be in the running for that, just tells you where they were at. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Josh Whedon was going to direct a Batgirl movie, and he stepped down. And I wish that would have been the end of the Batgirl thing, because there should have never been. That's another thing. Remember, I said damage from bad management. Greenlighting a Batman or Batgirl movie at the time that they were going to do it was a poor decision, and it, once again, someone else had to come along and pull the plug from that, and that did a lot of damage. It would be funny if the first AI movie, all AI movies were about God. Yeah, that would be hilarious. I would go see that. How you doing, Flash? That interview was just cringe at so many levels. Yeah, yeah, he's fallen. He has fallen. Google says Dune was it was 2 hours and 17 minutes. Not. Oh man, why does it feel like that movie was forever? Isn't there? You know what? There may be I think there's a director's cut out there that's like a long time. Hold on, let me look. Because I maybe because it felt longer. That movie was a product of his time. Let's see, 1984 film. It was a box office bomb too. I had 137 minutes. Okay, so wow. Look at the all-star cast that was in that movie. Captain Picard was in that movie. Linda Hunt, Academy Award winning Linda Hunt was in that movie. Jose Ferrara was in that movie. Kyle MacLachlan obviously was in that movie. The late great Max von Sydow was in that movie. Dean Stockwell, who wasn't in this movie? Good Lord. All right. Let's see. I thought there was a much on. Yep. Yeah, there you go. And it only pulled in 40 million in the box office at a cost of 39 million. Ouch. Yeah, that's probably what I saw. How you doing, Turan? I don't know how much money the first one made. I wasn't I didn't see that. I don't think I saw that. I know we promoted. Man, it's crazy. But like I said, two things: did it make money? And B, is there still a story to tell? And if both of the answers are yes, then yeah, let's do it. I don't think he could ever come back. I don't think Josh could come back. It's going to be a long time before he comes back. He'll have to do a lot of independent stuff that doesn't have his name on it, and then people like it, and then they'll be like, "Hey, it's Josh Whedon," and you know, yeah, and but they're good though. Yeah, Sting was in that one. Yep, everybody was in that one. Dune 2049. Where do I buy my ticket for? Where do I buy my ticket? No, it wasn't David Bowie. It was I think it was. Hey, was it supposed to be David Bowie? It's been so long. But yeah, it was Sting. That was Sting right in the synchronicity Sting, the prime Sting, man. A famous Spanish director, Jodorowsky, tried to make Dune, but failed. He was going to pay Salvador Dali $1 million a minute to play Padashah, Shadow Emperor of the Fourth. $1 million a minute? Yikes, dude. Yeah, I'm looking at it right here because then you look at the Wikipedia page that actually comes up. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd have to look up Alita Battle Angel. Let me look up Alita Battle Angel. Let me see. Because whenever you guys ask me if there should be a single, the only thing I can really tell you is the business aspect of it. And at 219, Robert Rodriguez did that. Oh wow, dude. All right, let's see. All right, okay, dude, that was an expensive movie. The budget was 150 to 200 million, but the box office was 400 million. So, I mean, they cleared they made a profit. Let's see. Ooh, okay, the lawsuit. All right. All right, Alita Battle Angel grossed 85.8 million in the United States and Canada, and 319 million in other countries. Wow, it made a killing around the world. For a worldwide total of 405 million against a production budget of 170 million. It's Robert Rodriguez's highest grossing film. That's interesting. Estimates vary from total worldwide gross needed to order to break even, with Fox's insiders stating 350 million, but outside financial publications begging at about 400 million. Some contend the film broke even by the end of its theatrical run. Others listed its losses as high as 53 million. Ooh, so there you go. So yeah, planned sequels. James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez have hinted that the film could lead to multiple sequels. On February 2019, they announced that they have plans for Alita Battle Angel 2 in the future. The casting of Edward Norton and a non-speaking role as Nova in this film is intended to be the setup for the sequel. Additionally, the uncredited cameos by Michelle Rodriguez and Jai Courtney were meant to set up a larger sequel. Let's see. In December of 2022, Rodriguez and James Cameron took a virtual blood oath to make a sequel. There you go. Blood oath. It's like Lone Ranger and Tonto. Dude, $1 million. Listen, A minute is a lot now, dude. 2023. A million a minute is a lot today, so it had to be extraordinary then. Dude, I just want to be the guy at the bottom catching the change from that movie. I want to be the guys at the catering. What are they tipping? Holy cow! How much do they have to pay him for that? Lead a battle angel sucked. It's just a bad YA film like Divergent. Come on now, fourth man. You're becoming the get off my lawn guy. You're becoming me. The better version of Battle Angel was Elysium by Blomkamp and it's more common tone. It has a better soundtrack too, by the way. Although I didn't get the other soundtrack, M83 did some stuff for that soundtrack. I would love Hollywood to make a Sims movie. Didn't they make one of those? Have you seen anything about Rodriguez's new movie with Affleck, William Hypnotic? I think it's called. I heard about that. Isn't there a trailer out about that, dude? There's been so many trailers coming out with all the CinemaCon stuff and everything else. I've heard about it, and I saw that there's a trailer, either coming out or out. I'm not real sure. The guy who's going to play Blade in MCU was great in that movie. William Mahershala Ali, well, 2-time Academy Award winner. I hope Lily gets sequels. The first one was very good. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. It's about an hour and 7 minutes. It's about 12:52. Tomorrow is a long day. We will have our Star Trek weekly show. Man, it's going to be the first one that doesn't have Picard as part of it. But we have Strange New Worlds coming up, so we'll get prepped and ready for that. I may have some guests on the show, depending on who's available. And then we're going to be paying attention to a Full Circle and doing all the watch logs and being part of it. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for being the coolest part of this YouTube experience. And I will see you later on tonight at 8 p.m. for Star Trek Weekly. And let me get that off the thing. All right, guys. Go get some sleep. I'm sure as hell going to.